Looking for a way to avoid money fights and falling deeper into debt? Well, we've got just the process for you.
This is a behind-the-scenes look on how we eliminated $90,000 in debt outside of our mortgage.
And if you want to see how we fell into that $90,000 in debt, check out this video here. For the best marriage advice, give us a like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified when we post a new video every Wednesday. Hi, my husband and I co-founded Intentional Marriages, and I'm excited to have him here today. This is Russ.
Hello everyone. And this video is about a proactive financial lesson we implemented after hitting rock bottom with our finances.
So for you newlyweds or engaged couples even, it's really important to have a process in place. And we're going to share this process of what's really helped us when we hit rock bottom, pull out of that deep, deep debt. As I mentioned in this video here, 41% of Gen Xers and 29% of millennials said that they divorced over financial issues.
Needless to say, it's important to be on the same page when it comes to finances with your spouse.
Except for the problem with us is that we were on the same page, but we were on the same page about making a mistake.
Yes, unfortunately. Comment below. How do you and your spouse stay on the same page when it comes to finances?
Right, so it's a difficult question if you haven't had some kind of process to teach you. So why don't we talk through how we came up with this system?
Sure. Well, after we had gotten in such a bad place, we decided our church has a thing called Newlyweds, where we could go meet with a mentoring couple about finances. And the biggest thing they taught us it's so simple, but is to learn how to track our spending on a daily basis or on a regular basis.
Seems pretty basic.
Yeah, and they gave us a spreadsheet to use that had both wants and needs, be able to categorize things. And you can do it daily, weekly, monthly. For us, when we do it monthly, it takes over a couple of hours, and sometimes you forget things. Weekly, it only takes about 20 minutes, maybe 30 at most. But daily, it takes 2 to 3 to 5 minutes at most, and we found that's the most beneficial. Of course, it doesn't mean that we do it every single day, but if you get in the habit of doing it daily, then usually, as Zig Ziglar says, if you miss one day, it's a lapse. If you miss 2 days, it's a relapse. On the third day, it's a collapse. So it's okay to miss a day or two, but try not. If you're going to do them daily, don't go past a couple days.
Yeah, I can't get over how it is like under 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I used to dread our Saturdays. Yeah. Like, we have to go tag our expenses. And I'm sure people are like, how do you do that every week? Mm-hmm. And then to think that we moved to daily, you would think, I would not want to do that. But I'm telling you, I should have timed it. We have been done under 5 minutes.
It's so easy to do it that way.
And what I love about the process is, if we wait all week, I forget something that I had done earlier that week. And so when we do it daily, I don't forget what was just bought or what transaction just happened. So I love that part of it.
And it also makes sure that we both agree on what we're spending. And so, we know what each other is spending on our own, and we're always together. And if there's something we have a question about, it's easy to address it when you're doing it daily versus monthly. Like, I'm not sure what that was, or I'm not sure why I did that.
Yeah. And the good news is we don't necessarily have surprises, because we have a certain amount that if I'm going to spend over that amount, we talk about it, and vice versa.
Exactly.
So there's not those shocking surprises. But there are some that are under that amount that we just, we go to the grocery store, we pick up things, we run errands, but we still have an opportunity to say, hey, what is this charge about? And then that way there's not this, oh my gosh, how did our credit card bill get to be so many, thousands at the end of the month?
And it allows you to see, what you're spending on groceries and eating out and things where you can cut easily or make changes easily. And also, obviously, you can compare it to where you are with your budget for the month. It's much easier to do that when you're doing it daily versus waiting to the end of the month to see if you stayed within your budget. So highly encourage the daily. And here's something we just learned this past week. So I was in New York City Thursday morning, and we had not done them the night before, and so I had a couple minutes. I was working out of the hotel, and I had a couple minutes. I called Danielle, and she was free. I said, hey, since we didn't do the expenses last night, let's do them real quick now instead of waiting until tonight. So we opened up the bank account, and all of a sudden there was a check in there that someone had pre-printed a check somehow and got it through our checking account. And while it was only $27, what it did is people usually are testing to see if they can get a small amount through, and then they'll send a big amount. But it was amazing they were able to get this through. So of course we called our bank, ended up on the phone for 5 hours. We had to shut our bank account down. We had to open a new bank account. We had to call all the companies that we have automatic withdrawals, automatic deposits. So we spent 5 hours that day, but had we not been, if we would have waited till the end of the month, you know, who knows what would have happened, because whoever did this was seeing if they could get it through, and then they were going to send a big check through, according to the fraud department of our bank.
We live in an era of fraud in America, not just in banking, but in government, education, religion, food, even baseball. What bothers me isn't that fraud is not nice or that fraud is mean. It's that for 15,000 years, fraud and short-sighted thinking have never ever worked. Not once.
Big lesson learned. We were so grateful that we did it on a daily basis, or we, you know, could have been dealing with a much bigger issue from a fraud perspective.
Yeah, if there was ever an argument of doing this on a daily basis, that did it for us this week. So we highly, highly encourage you to get to that system. So let's talk through how this actually works, because I'm sure a lot of people are sitting there going, I've got an app for that, and it gives me this report. Like, why would I want to do your system where you're literally tracking every expense?
Yeah, we do. We literally, we open up our laptops. Danielle goes into the bank account and she looks at all the checks or anything that's hit our bank account that day. Then she opens and she tells me what the charge is, and I actually enter it in a spreadsheet. And then she does it with our credit cards. And of course, if we spend any cash, we put that in. But we literally put it in line item by line item in each category. And to Danielle's point, there's plenty of great apps out there. But what we found with the apps is that they summarize everything too much. Or even if you put them in categories, I just found that it allowed me to be lazy. And not give me the data as granular as I needed to make the best financial decisions. So we started out with an app years ago and then realized that it wasn't giving us what we needed. And so we started this process. And in addition to that, it also, when we were doing that, we weren't as aligned because it was easy. You know, she would run the report and I would look at it, but we really wouldn't talk about the details of what was in the report. Yeah. And this doing it daily by her bringing it up, telling me what the charge is, and then me inputting it in the spreadsheet, make sure that we are talking through all the expenses. And I know this sounds at a very detailed level, but it's, you know, we were at a very bad place financially, and if you're at a bad place financially, you know, you may be really good financially, you may be really great at managing your finances, and so this may not be, you know, maybe too detailed for you, but if you're struggling with your finances, this would be one of the first things I would do is literally together, not just one of you going in and pulling up the bank account and then putting it in while the other one's doing something else. You do it together. It's crucial that you do this together.
$1,000 for
little flash money.
flash money. Well, let's see here. $2,000 for a suit, $200 for a tie, a requisition order for a Ferrari.
So where I'm reading off the charges and Russ is plugging it into the spreadsheet, I'm flagging certain expenses that need follow-up. And I'm also tagging the expenses within the Bank of America, within the credit card. And that way it allows us to keep up, okay, where did we leave off the night before, the day before, and talking about those expenses. But it's a good to-do list when we're going through it. If there's anything that was questionable, that I follow up with that and look into it the very next day. So this spreadsheet below is the same spreadsheet we've been using since 2006. Again, it's broken up into the needs and the wants, and hopefully your wants are not higher than your needs. And start tracking your expenses and start off on a daily basis, because if you wait a week, again, you're gonna get frustrated, it takes too long. Yes, this is a tedious task, but like Russ said, when we do it daily, you're done within 5 minutes.
Yeah, good luck, and we hope this is a great process to help you.
If you liked this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you know my favorite part, take a screenshot and share it with your friends. And comment below if you are now ready to start holding yourself accountable by tracking your expenses. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Goodbye, everyone.